Raising teenagers is hard. Understatement of the century. This is Mentor Select. Mentor Select. Parenting teens to be successful adults. Mentor Select serves parents who are raising teens. Every week, Derek interviews leading experts that work with teens, educators, counselors, mentors, and authors to give you practical tips, strategies, and resources that you can incorporate immediately to better connect and understand your teen. All while parenting them to be successful adults, focusing on social and emotional development, something that's left out of the classroom, but not in ours. Be sure to subscribe, share, and rate. This is Mentor Select, and this is your host, Derek Phillips.
All right, parents, you're in for a real treat today. My guest is Galit Adani, who's the founder and executive director of Dance to Unite, joining us from New York City. How are you, Galit?
I'm good. How are you, Derek?
I'm doing well. Thrilled that you can join the Mentor Select podcast today. So really looking forward to hearing about Dance to Unite and just your story. Glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be on the podcast, and I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. So I guess we can dive right in. Galit, you already know my audience are parents who are raising teenagers. And a lot of teenagers like to dance. They like to express themselves through the art. I guess a good place to start is tell us about what is Dance to Unite and what was just your inspiration for founding the organization?
So Dance to Unite is a nonprofit that gives free dance classes to kids with a mission to teach and to celebrate cultural diversity through dance. So the mission is really not for them to become professional dancers, although if they choose this path, awesome. Our mission is for them to start looking at everyone who is different in a positive way, in an interested way, and in a way to unite everyone. So the mission is unity. The focus is unity. And the way we do it is every dance class. For the kids, it's really a dance class. That's how they see it. But our classes start with what we call circle talk, where the teacher sits with the kids and we explore one of 13 different values, all positive values, that are connected to the celebration of cultural diversity. And what we do is we partner with after-school programs in the inner city, in New York City, in the 3 boroughs. We are in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, and in Manhattan. And all of our teachers are volunteers. I train them. A lot of them become staff members after a while. So we give also job opportunities to those who are interested. Yes. So there's a way of growth within the organization. What we really strive to do is to create unity among not just the kids, also the school staff with us. Our teachers learn about themselves, the world around us. So unity is the mission. That's why Dance to Unite and not Unite to Dance.
I love it. And
thank you.
Especially with everything going on in the world today, unity is not a term I hear that often, which is refreshing.
But you know what? I always hear from so many celebrities and people and just on TV how much it's important, and it seems to be something so natural for everyone and so easy to say, but it's not, right? Look at what's happening in the world. It's not. So we really need to start as early as possible. That's why our main focus, I know your audience is parents of teenagers. We focus mainly on elementary school kids because we believe you need to start early. But we do also have a program for kids who are older, who are teenagers. And as I mentioned to you, we started a new initiative called Girls to Unite, which is focused on teenage girls. So as early as possible, the earlier, the better.
Yeah,
to bring all those positive concepts, Yeah, it's totally harder when they're teens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to certainly have your work cut out for you then. Indeed.
Yeah.
Nah, I totally agree. The earlier, the better. Start building that foundation of unity and tolerance and acceptance. The earlier, the better, for sure. Now,
There's also another factor. Let me just, um, when you come with a program, it's an after school program, like I mentioned, of dance. It's not always easy. You may think everyone likes to dance, but it's not always easy, especially with the concepts that we bring, which are bonding and giving and acceptance, respect, compassion.
right.
Teenagers can be too cool for that. So when you start early, hopefully, and that's what we're trying to do, we want to see how it works, the transition from elementary to middle school,
Right.
to see if the kids will be more open. So we're still in the process of figuring this out.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how certainly starting younger and elementary age students would be more open to, like you said, mentioned the circle talks and just those positive values, and just kind of still mold their mind. They're not as hardened as by teenagers. So I love that.
I think part of also what we want to do is we want to create this notion that being kind is cool. Being nice to one another is cool. Accepting, trying to understand, asking questions, conversations, that's what can change the world and also your world, personal world.
Right. Absolutely.
Because it can open so many opportunities, right? When you're open. So basically that's the biggest idea. And I think you asked before what made me start, the foundation. The inspiration. There were quite a few inspirations, but one story that, the one that really stands out to me is that, first of all, I've been a volunteer. I come from Israel. Let me start by that. I'm Israeli, born and raised.
Okay.
And just so people know, a lot of people think that Israelis are just, you have a picture in your mind. I happen to be mainly Middle Eastern Israeli. So I came here for college, and very, very soon after, I wanted to volunteer and give back. And I felt an immediate connection. I wanted to give to kids in the inner city. I didn't grow up with dance, and it was my love always. I always wanted to dance, so I always wanted to give. And also, I felt more connected to the African American and Hispanic community, just because I look Middle Eastern, so it made sense to me, and I wanted to give back. So I volunteered with a nonprofit called Groove with Me for 11 consecutive years on a weekly basis. Yeah, just going and giving. I never thought that I would start a nonprofit. That wasn't even, in my mind. I just enjoyed this connection with the kids that came to my class. Some of the kids, I literally grew up with them, and there were beautiful stories within the time that I volunteered. And one story that really stands out, that really is the one that kind of opened the door to Dance to Unite, was that after 11 consecutive years of volunteering, I always used to ask the kids what they want to dance to, because I felt like, giving them an opportunity to connect with a song as long as it's clean,
right,
with a good message. And they happened to hear a song, an Israeli song, on my iPhone. It was the first iPhone in 2008. And they connected with it. And we had a show at the Apollo Theater that year. And yeah, exactly. It was a wow moment. It was in December. The classes start in October. So it's once a week. So we didn't have a lot of time. And my students taught me a big lesson, because I really didn't think that it would work out having Hebrew, an Israeli song, at the Apollo Theater. And kind of out of protection for them, I was afraid. I said to them, well, people will laugh at you, will boo, will want you off the stage. What will happen then? And oh my God, I was so proud of them. They stood their ground and they said, you've always taught us to follow our hearts. That's what we want. We love that song and we want to do that and we don't care. And it was an amazing moment. So there you go with the Apollo Theater. My girls, African-American girls, dancing to Israeli music. And that just changed everything to me.
Wow.
It just taught me such a lesson. And I said, okay, this happened organically, unplanned. I didn't even want them to perform to that song.
Right.
And look what happened. What a message. What if we did this intentionally? What if we taught about different cultures, if we brought different styles of dance, different, of course, dancing to different style, music, different languages, and talking about it? What would that do? And that's how I started. That was, well, of course, there were other inspirations along the way, TV shows like Fame.
Okay.
And and things that I grew up with, always wanting to dance but couldn't dance, all came together. And me, myself, not having dance, understanding what it means not to have dance when you want to. So all this played a part, and it was the right time. And so the performance was in December 2008, and in October 2009, we had our first official Dance to Unite class, which was just me.
Wow.
So that was the inspiration.
It happened fast. Awesome. So what was the reception like at the Apollo Theater? I'm sure it's probably the first time that someone performed to Hebrew music on the stage of the Apollo.
You know what? It was unbelievable. I think
wow. Love it.
They were quiet. They were quiet because, they didn't recognize probably, but it's, the music is so beautiful. Honestly, they picked such beautiful music. And it's also, the beginning is chanting in Ethiopian, in Amharic.
Okay.
I hope it's the correct way. So there's something to it. And actually, you can give a link so people can see the performance of the Apollo.
Sure,
I can
I'd love
send
to
it to
do
you.
that.
Maybe you can put it later. Yeah, I think it just speaks more, and you'll see. And then that's why it kind of blew me away. I was like, wow. I tried to kind of get them out of it, because out of protection, again, out of caring, not out of
right.
And wow, what a lesson they
taught you a lesson. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful story, beautiful lesson. Follow their hearts. And that's what they did, despite whether the audience was going to be receptive or not. They knew that was the right thing to do at the right time. So clearly you taught them a valuable lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that I kept saying to them all the time, follow your heart, follow your heart. And that's why they were kind of like, what do you mean you don't want us to? That's what you're saying every time, that we should follow our heart and not care about what other people think if we feel it's the right thing. And so, yeah. So I learned a big lesson. I mean, look, we started dancing night to hold on.
Yeah, look what it led to. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that story. And
sure, thank you.
You mentioned earlier about just how we hear often from just celebrities in the media and just how important it is for unity, but it not being as easy actually to just do. It's not easy to unite people, especially from different backgrounds and cultures and things like that. Why do you think it is so hard to unite people?
I think it even starts before we even talk about cultures, religions, all that. It starts even with yourself, with your family sometimes. It's just, we're all diverse, regardless of our look, regardless of, we're diverse in everything. And it's such a big question,
Yeah.
why? Because if we could answer the whole world, but I think really if we start seeing ourselves in others, and that's what we're trying to teach the kids, that even though we may look different, or we like different things, or we speak in different language, or we eat something different, or that at the end of the day, we feel the same. That's what I always say. We feel the same. So a kid in Pakistan who's been bullied would feel just the same as a kid in New York City, in the Lower East Side or in Holland. Yeah. So the feeling is shared no matter where you are. So if we can tap into that at the end of the day, we're all the same. And if we accept one another, we really accept ourselves. That's a very deep, very, very deep. But it's when people don't accept themselves, and I think most people, they wouldn't say it because they don't even think about it.
Right.
It's much easier to blame someone else.
Yeah.
Or to point the finger. And it's been, for years and years and years. So if there's a way to start, like I said, young, as young as possible, to open the mind to acceptance, that's what we all want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So as easy as it is, it's sound, it's not.
It's hard work, and it's great organizations like Dance to Unite that's on the front lines doing that hard work. That's wonderful. Yeah. And as you mentioned, so that was a big question, but you gave a big answer. Just how you summarize this. Start seeing ourselves and others. I think that's just such a powerful statement that really encapsulates what it takes to unite. Because once you realize that, hey, just because that person looks different to me, hey, I see myself in that person still. And then you can really start breaking down those barriers and humanize people that are different from you. I think, I love that.
Right. You know what? I just wrote something. I write sometimes on Twitter, but just going along with that point, that in the Bible, it says, love your neighbor as yourself.
Yep.
And literally, I just wrote, I think a week ago, I wrote, love yourself so you can love your neighbor. Going back to the point, it's very deep.
Yeah.
Going back to the point, if you don't accept yourself or part of yourself, or it's much easier to point the finger at someone else. Whereas, it doesn't mean love yourself in I'm better. What I mean is accept yourself.
Right.
It can be easier to accept others. So again, very deep and not easy work. And again, how do you deliver this to young kids? So we talk to them in what they understand, in the language that they understand. But it's just tapping into those values and notions that being kind is cool. Being nice to each other is cool. That's what we reinforce Dance to Unite. Not necessarily being the best dancer. And that's part of, so I provide training to our teachers. And I always say, in dance class, in regular dance class, usually it's the kids with the best dance abilities that will be taken to the front or will be rewarded, and look at them. And in Dance to Unite, it's really to see those moments where a kid is being kind to another kid, even if they're not the best, and just making it a hero moment. And we have that. We call it a Dance to Unite moment. And we're like, wow. For example, one of the kids, he saw his friend, the shoelaces were out, and he needed to tie them. So it was two boys, which is amazing. He just tied his friend's shoelaces. And we're just like, wow, and that resonates with them. Oh, that's what's being reinforced here.
Right.
So,
that's awesome.
Starting with little things.
Exactly. We have to start with little things, have to start with the fundamentals, because that's the only way we can build on those. And just, like I said, moments like that, reinforcing that, hey, this shows the values that we stand for. This shows that you're loving your neighbor. And then, like you said, kids resonate with that because they can actually see it. It's not just an abstract concept. They can actually see, okay, this is the behavior that I need to model. This is the positive behavior, versus we're used to seeing just in the media, on TV, just a lot of negativity, and that's reinforcing negative behavior. So we want to certainly highlight those positive behaviors. I think that's awesome. Indeed.
You know what? I just have to, a week later, I came to the same class. So I don't come to every class, but I do visit once in a while. Mm-hmm. But a week later, I came to the class and I was the one who, I don't remember the name of the kid, but praising the kid and saying, look at that. And that's a Dance to Unite moment. And everyone clap your hands. That was beautiful. The following week I came, of course, I forgot about it. And all of a sudden I see one of the kids like kind of looking at me and then bending down and tying I don't even know if the shoelace trying to show me. So I made a big deal out of it again. But to me, and I looked at the teachers kind of like winking at each other, like they're getting it. They're like, just get it.
Yeah.
So as long as possible, with teenagers, it's much harder because now you're dealing with the music industry, which is, it can be very difficult with the
Right.
messages that we have there.
Exactly.
And also and social media, which
Right.
is also, social media is a great thing. I mean, you can find a lot of positive information, but at the same time, also scary information.
Yeah, you flooded with the scary stuff as
With
well.
everything. Right.
I have times I have to kind of just stay off social media for a while just to kind of reset and just kind of avoid just the negativity, just certain periods where like, okay, I'm just going to no social media today. I just want positive stuff. Yeah. Or have to be really intentional about what I'm looking at on social media to seek out that.
You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional, and think about being a teenager where your friends are influence you of what's cool and what not cool.
Exactly.
And it can be very scary. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a teenager now at this time. It's
Me
just
either, not with social media.
Now with social media and the music industry.
Yeah.
Which is another.
That's a major influence on,
Major. I can give you an example.
Okay.
The kids, they know that the music has to be with positive message.
Right.
Or clean. They know it's clean. And one of the kids last year, I came to the class because the class, just whenever they need extra boost, I would come and just also help the teachers and train them. So I came to one of the classes in the Lower East Side in Manhattan. And one of the kids came up to me and he said, there's a really, really cool song and it's clean and please, can you add it to the warm up? And of course, I if it's clean and it's good message, I always say, yes, no problem.
Right.
But the name of the song, you probably know it, is Old Time Road.
Yeah, I know the song. Yeah,
the one with
song.
Yeah.
The cowboy.
The cowboy, right. I just looked at the words were clean and I said, okay. I said to the teacher, okay. But then when I heard it again, I heard there was a hidden message. One of the lines says, cheated on my baby. Like I cheated on this woman.
Right.
And you can go ahead and ask her that's the cool thing to do.
Right.
And I was like, no, that's, even though you think that 8 or 9-year-olds don't they get it.
Yeah, exactly. They're smart.
They get it. They're smart and they get it. And they get what even it's clean words. Nothing is said, but what is the message there?
Right. There's a message.
So there's a message there. So we have to be even more careful as teachers that deliver messages of unity. Really, it's not even just clean words. It's what's the hidden message behind it.
Right.
And, for me as an Israeli, my English is not perfect. So a lot of times I don't want to even think about music that I didn't understand the hidden message. Right. But now I'm extra careful. And the best way is to talk to them about it when they say, not to say, oh, no, you can't, really to tell them why, to explain to them. And just to be very strong with your values because kids can test you, teenagers for sure.
Definitely. Strong and consistent.
That they see that you get what's going on and you're not going to fall into this. And that's not a good message. And Dentistry Night doesn't stand by messages like that. Messages that are uplifting and for sure. But nothing that is even subliminal.
Yeah, I think that's great. And it's a great message for the parents listening, just how important it is to monitor the type of music that your kids are listening to, because those messages can form their identities and what they feel is acceptable behavior. And that's something now, with being a new dad, like we've started already, where we're really conscious about what type of music we let her listen to. And even myself, I grew up in a different environment, inner city, and listened to rap my whole life. And just probably over the last couple of years, I stopped listening to certain rap music because I realized the messaging was not something that I stood for as far as values. So there's no point for me supporting that type of music and not being a hypocrite as a parent, saying, no, I can listen to it, but you can't.
That's exactly what I wanted to say to parents. I think first and foremost, and that's why I was saying being very strong, I think the message would be to parents that, kids will, more than listening to you, they will see what you do.
Absolutely.
So if you tell them about the message, but then you listen to it, even if it's just without the words, like I said, even if it's clean, but with the subliminal, that's the reason why I picked that song, you know. I know it sounds very strict, but think about it. It really gets into the subconscious.
Yep.
And it sends a huge message. And in that particular song, I think to boys.
Right.
And
That's
that's
okay.
kind of, and that's what starts the whole cycle of what's going on in the inner city. One of the problems of to adulthood and, you know, teenage moms and all this.
Yeah. This is something we certainly don't hear about in the media, but I think that's a huge contributing factor to, like I say, the issues that are impacting the inner city and minorities. Big part of it is, I think, yes, this culture and just those subliminal messages and sometimes just overt messages of just the most obscene things that you'll hear in music. Yeah, that's just some of
you have a daughter now.
Yeah.
You have a daughter now, so now you're listening to things in a different way, right?
Big time. So I hope parents are taking heed to that. As far as, like, I love the hero moment thing. And I think that's another important message for parents to really focus on highlighting and just acknowledging even the small things their kids do, their teens do, to just reinforce those positive values. I guess, would you have any more advice as far as how parents can incorporate that approach at home with their teens?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, I would start with being real with your kids, with your teens. The most, I think, if you could be transparent, even about your mistakes, they can feel it. You know, it's an energy. That's how I call it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because, like I said, you can pretend to say things, and then they see you do something else, and it's not. You know, they see that you're not genuine, so the message is not clear. But I think as parents, you have extra responsibility now because they're watching you. So, and especially today, like I mentioned, because of the pressure with the music industry and social media, it's tougher. And you have to also, I think, as a parent, reevaluate yourself.
Yes,
like
indeed.
You said, music you're listening to, even shows on TV, if it's too violent, all this stuff, you need to really take a look at yourself, because now they will model you what you do more than what you say. And so then true. when you do that, again, conversations, you know, it's so easy to text today and everything, but circle talk, that's why we call it circle talk. You know, at the beginning of the year, usually the kids, they want to dance. So they're like, oh God, now we have to be in a circle and talk. Towards the middle of the year, they're like, can we have more circle talk? We want to share more, because they get into the hang of it.
Right.
And kids have a lot, and listen to them, really listen to them. See what they say, ask them, how was your day? And then reinforce the good behavior. So kids will test you. Kids, they will test you. They want to see. Like I said, that's why you have to be very firm and strong.
Right.
And also be the example. Parents need to be the example. You are what they look at. So the heavy, you know, most of the work is on the parents.
Yep.
And
the leaders lead from the front.
Right. And again, what you do, not necessarily what you say. So if you do and say it's not the same, they're not going to take your advice. So starting with this, and the conversations are very important. And then, of course, reinforcing whatever it is, even just speaking to them. Because a lot of times they don't speak about what bothers them, sometimes it can be embarrassing for a teenage boy to say he's been bullied.
Right.
You know, sometimes I hope they can be open, but this is why maybe stories that from parents that they weren't perfect or that they had hardship it's good if it's real. Share that with them. Yeah, so they can see you in that light and they can feel comfortable opening up to you too. So important.
Yeah, very.
And then talking about the hard stuff. Don't shy away from, especially as teens. Talk about drugs. Talk about what can happen. Teenage pregnancy. Talk about sexually transmitted diseases, and all those things. At that age, talk to them. Show them that you care. Show them what can happen. Don't be afraid to be real and transparent.
Yeah, that is
so
the key.
That would be and that they know that they have a safe place. That's another thing. It's so important to know that they are safe, that they can share, that they can, if something bothers them, that they know that the parent, they have your back.
Right. So. Yeah, that's great advice. So we have Dance to Unite. I know you said primarily focuses on elementary students. Then you're in the process of starting Girls to Unite, which will focus on teenage girls. What about any programs or initiatives for adults that you have in the works?
So Dance to Unite is mainly for elementary. We do have a class in the Bronx for middle age school kids. So we do work also with teens. Girls to Unite is a new initiative that we actually started. Of course, we had to stop a couple of months ago because of what's happening with the pandemic. But we did start Girls to Unite, and it's specifically for teenage girls. And it's about uniting with who they are, meaning to really assess what's right and what's wrong within you, which we feel that every teen by that age, you know that cutting a class is not the right thing to do. But you may have pressure from your friends. So tapping into that inner voice and being able to be first and foremost loyal to yourself, especially as a teenager, and do the right thing. So you can unite with yourself and then truly with your friends and then truly with the community. So again, a big initiative of Girls to Unite.
Wow,
and as we move, and since, now we have the pandemic, and a lot of people are saying over the years, and especially my staff and my volunteers, whenever we have teacher trainings and workshops, when usually people run away, and at the end of the workshop, after a couple of hours, what happens in Dance to Unite, they stay and they want to know more. And they say, we need to do more of those conversations and always stories. And every person that comes to us, they have their story of their culture and how they were, whether they were bullied and they want to change this, or unity is needed because of this and that. So what I've seen and I felt is we need to do more of the conversation, the circle talk part. So we geared towards adults. And then one of our volunteers specifically, she's now staff, Nirali, she said to me, Galit, when are we going to start? We need to do it for adults. And we thought about a name, and she came up with Souls to Unite, which will be a platform of what we call circle talk, discussing all kinds of issues in the world. The first one will be geared towards race relations and allyship. So trying in light of what's happening now with George Floyd and those demonstrations and everything that's been happening, we want to open the platform to adults so we can talk, listen, understand, accept, see what we can do to change as a community and support, of course. So
fantastic. Souls to Unite. That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Cool. All about unity. All goes back to the core mission. Unity.
It's all to unite. Let me tell you, shout out to Nirali, but really now my team, it's really funny. We have a meeting, so we actually have a meeting tonight. So I see in the email, Tuesday to unite. Everything is to unite. Marketing to unite. So I kind of like it. So yeah, going with the Brandon, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well,
yeah,
awesome.
And by the way, we would love to have you on Souls to Unite. We didn't start yet, but we would love to have, especially what you're doing. I think it's terrific. The mentorship and being an author and writing books, specifically to kids.
Yeah.
And also you've been there, so you speak from experience. And I think kids can really feel it. Like going back to the point of being real.
Right.
Kids really connect, and teens connect to real, when you're genuine, where you have a true story. Right. So, and look at what you're doing now. So God bless.
Well, I'll certainly be honored to be on Souls to Unite. So certainly looking forward to it. Well, Galit, you've given us a lot of great information and guidance, wisdom, just encouragement throughout this interview. As we ready to wrap it up, do you have any parting words of advice you would want to leave parents with?
I just want to say that what a blessing it is to be a parent. God bless you, first and foremost. But again, just to really take this blessing seriously, and to know that the first and foremost role model of any kid is you as a parent.
Yeah.
So make sure, especially with what's going on today, really see, TikTok and all this, even if you're over it, take a look at what they're doing. Ask them questions. Open conversation. I know, in the world, we need money, we need to run and meetings and traveling, but your kids that's the future. So take the time to talk to them, make sure they feel comfortable, and be transparent. I keep saying it. Be real, genuine, and transparent, including all the mistakes and everything else, so they can really connect with you, and we can change. You change one soul, you can change the world. So God bless you, and I wish you all the best. And also, if any parent would like to continue the conversation, you can join Souls to Unite. You can also reach out to me. We have so much information on Dance to Unite online, and I'll be happy to give any further advice if someone wants something specific, more for a teenage girl or anything else.
Fantastic. Well, y'all, Galit, you're doing phenomenal work, you and your team at Dance to Unite, and I'm just looking forward to see y'all, just your impact continue to grow, because it's certainly needed. And it's what y'all are doing, and I love it. Now, what would be the best place to contact you? So
all you do is really, if you just Google Dance to Unite, you get all the information, the info at dance2unite.org, the email, info@dance2unite.org. Make sure 2 is not the number 2, T-O. Come directly to me. I try to answer every email. I answer every email. So maybe not very fast, but I do take my time, and I'll be happy to connect with anyone. Once again, and everyone can, at some point we would love to open the platform of Souls to Unite to as many people as possible. So just look out online. We have Instagram, again, at Dance to Unite would be the handle, the Twitter, not on Facebook, but we have also Facebook, also, like I mentioned, Instagram. So we're constantly giving information, and it's pretty easy nowadays to connect.
Well, that's great. And I highly encourage the parents to reach out to you. And it's clearly you're passionate about serving youth and serving adults as well. You're passionate about making a difference. And I love what you said about you change one soul, you can change the world. And I totally believe in that. Yeah. Change one person's world, it has a ripple effect.
Oh, yeah. And that's written in the Bible, too. I love that. Absolutely. You change one soul, you change the world. It's very true.
Well, keep up the good work. And I want to give a quick shout out to our mutual friend, Mark Rika, who introduced us. So I definitely appreciate his introduction.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, he is an awesome guy. So, Galit, I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us, and hope to have you back soon.
I appreciate you too, Derek. I appreciate you too. And hopefully, Mark Rika and yourself will all join on Souls to Unite and change the world.
That'd be great.
You've been listening to Mentor Select. Mentor Select. Parenting teens to be successful adults. Hosted by Derek Phillips. Raising teenagers is hard. Understatement of the century. We get it. That's why Derek interviews leading experts that work with teens, educators, counselors, mentors, and authors to give you practical tips, strategies, and resources that you can incorporate immediately to better connect and understand your teen. That's why we do the show. Be sure to share Mentor Select with other parents of teens. Follow us on social media at Mentor Select to stay up to date on the latest tips, strategies, and resources for parenting teens. Send your questions and comments to Derek at mentorselect.com. Tune in every Wednesday for new episodes. Till next time, this is Mentor Select.